Hi everyone, and welcome to Mildly Successful Gardener. My name is Liz and I garden in zone 6A, 6B in Northwest Ohio. According to Google, we're on a transition line. I would say we see more 6B weather than we do 6A, but hey, maybe this will be the year we get negative 10 degrees. Who knows? 2025 was the first year of me gardening on my own. I grew up with a garden in the backyard. My dad really loved growing vegetables, and that's where I learned a lot of what I know. But last year, when my husband and I got our first piece of property, I really was inspired to lean in to flower gardening. And so it was my first time buying seeds, germinating them, putting them out. I learned so much my first year and I was really excited about it. And so I'm going into 2026 and I thought it would be fun to look back at 2025 at the seeds that I bought and kind of see what worked and what didn't work. Now, before we get started, I bought about 90% of my seeds from Eden Brothers online. They were one of the first companies that popped up and they had beautiful pictures and they seemed to have a good reputation. And so that's just where I bought them from. To start off with, I grew Cheyenne Spirit, Echinacea, or coneflowers. I was so excited to try something that wasn't the typical lavender purple of the really dominant Echinacea. And I was mildly whelmed, if that's a phrase that you can use. I had to cold stratify the seeds, which worked, and I got a couple to germinate and grow, and I put them out, and they seemed to take their time to grow, but when they came up, I got some yellows and some oranges mixed in, and they were beautiful, but they were very short. I'm used to seeing a lot of much longer, taller Echinacea, and so that was kind of surprising. I don't know, and this is probably going to be a theme throughout, I don't know if they got enough light. We have about 15 mature trees on this property, and it is so hard to find good light. I have a little plot in the front yard that I want to try next year, which is getting off topic, so we'll see. But might try a different location, might see if they just need a second year. Hopefully they either reseed or the roots come back. We'll see. I gave Foxglove a try last year. I got the Excelsior mix, this beautiful like dark pinks, light pinks, and even some whites mixed in. I was so excited. Even though I know they're a biennial, they leafed out beautifully. I just don't have much to report at this time because nothing bloomed. I'm hoping for 2026 that they're just gonna take off. I also don't know if I can wait another 2 years, so maybe I'll have to see if I can get the 1 year version. I don't know. I'm just so excited to see how they look. Let's talk about straw flowers. I bought the white version and I was so excited. I didn't know what to expect. Apparently they had these crazy awesome textures and they were really good in vases, and I got one to germinate. One. And that one did a lot of work. It grew to be almost as tall as me, and I got several rounds of cutting off of it. And when I looked up, how do you grow straw flower? Like, what is the secret here? Everybody seemed to be saying, it's just one of those normal ones that you grow, nothing too special about it. So yeah, we're gonna try again next year. If you have any recommendations on straw flower, or if you're like, no, Liz, it's just you, I guess let me know. I want to try more, and I have some seeds left over, so I'll try again and we'll see. But I love them. I just got to figure them out. I grew some sunflowers last year. The specific mix was Evening Colors, and I can't say too much about it because, as the name kind of implies, sunflowers need a lot of sun. And again, they did not grow in an area with a lot of sun. Oops. So the blooms turned out to be about this big. And so I didn't get see a lot of the dark brownish, reddish, or even light yellow colors that they were boasting in the pictures. They worked really well in bouquets though, because they didn't overwhelm it. So that's kind of a plus, and they were super cute. But I have some seeds left over, so I'll try again to give them what they actually need, you know, sun. Next up, I did yarrow seeds, yarrow. I did the Colorado mix, which when I was looking at the picture, I'm like, oh, this is so dreamy. In actuality, I really only got whites and light yellows, maybe like a little bit of a light pink, and they didn't flower very well for me. Again, I don't know if they had enough light. but they leafed out beautifully, and the ones that did come up were gorgeous, and so I loved them as like a little filler in bouquets, and so I would try them again. I think they're kind of a perennial, so we'll see if they come back next year and maybe they'll do better. Maybe I just need to take some seeds that I have left over and try again in a new location, so we'll try again. Let's talk about zinnias. Oh my gosh, I'm in love. I got the Queenie Lime Mix, and they just are, like they say, the quintessential cut and come again, and they did a lot of lifting in 2025. My only slight regret about them was that some of the plants came up all green. The blooms were all green too, which is like, Liz, it's a Queenie Lime Mix. Why are you surprised? I don't know. I guess I didn't think they were going to be pure green. But a lot of them had a beautiful mixture of like the pinks and the orange. It was just a beautiful thing going on. And my other only small con was that I didn't expect some of the blooms to be about the size of like a silver dollar. I was expecting bigger, bolder blooms, which I guess isn't necessarily what this mix does, but they were just amazing. I would have no hesitations growing them again. The one I would have hesitations on is the California Giants mix. They were like single petal flowers, and the bugs must have just really liked them or something. They did not do well. They did not do well, and their colors were very garish compared to the Queenie Lime. They just didn't do much for the bouquet. They were bigger, they were very big, they were giants, but they didn't do it for me, so I want to grow those again. Another flower that I fell absolutely in love with in 2025 were cosmos. On a whim, I bought a pack from Lowe's. They were the candy stripe cosmos, I believe, and I originally thought, oh, these are so airy, they're so little, they're papery thin, they're not really that pretty, and then they grew and they kept growing and they kept coming back, and I eventually loved that airy element that they added to the bouquets that I put together, and I just couldn't get enough. And I only planted, how many did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe about 5 or 6 little plants, and then they turned into these bushes, and they were doing amazing things. And so I am so excited to, in 2026, plant like as many as I can legally get away with. Not that there's a legal limit, but I'm just so excited to try new variations, new types, and to plant a lot. So this channel is called Mildly Successful Gardener because there are things that I do not know and cannot grow, apparently. Hollyhocks being one of them. I bought this beautiful hollyhock seed single mix pack. The picture just chef's kiss. They leafed out beautifully, and then they did nothing. And I was kind of looking at other videos and people talking about it, and they're like, yeah, you gotta have like the best you have to have the right location, and you have to have luck. Well, apparently I had neither of those. So I have seeds left over, and I just don't have it in me to be disappointed again. So unless there's like some big secret that I was just missing, which I would love to hear about, I just don't think, I need a year off to recover emotionally. Snapdragons were another one of the plants that I fell in love with. I got the Madame Butterfly Bronze pack, and these snapdragons were workhorses in the garden. I planted some in just different locations because I wasn't quite sure how they would grow, because I had a hard time germinating them. It wasn't until I put the cell packs in a plastic bag, because I didn't buy the lids for my trays, that they took off and germinated. And then when I put them out, I was just like, you know what, I'll just put these out. And then they did amazing things. So I'm hoping some of them self-seeded. I also bought some new for 2026. I loved their spiky nature. I loved the color. I loved everything. So I'm so excited to do more snapdragons. Speaking of other things that I killed, I killed my first batch of sweet peas. Prince of Orange was the pack that I got from Eden Brothers. Gorgeous pictures, and I bet they would have smelled lovely. I confused Cold Hardy with growing them indoors on a heat mat and just pampering them, and then Cold Hardy, you can just put them out, you don't have to harden them off. Hey, we're out here and we're learning. So those all died. And I wanted to try it again because I'd heard how great they smell and how wonderful they were. So I purchased on a whim from Lowe's another pack of just random sweet peas, and grew them in much the same way, but I hardened them off. And then when they grew through July, which was kind of unexpected for me, but was still amazing. And they do, guys, they smell so great. And I am very excited to try growing them again next year. I read Sweet Pea School and I can't remember the author's name, but she did a wonderful job of giving an approach on how to best treat these sweet peas, and it was not coddling them, to be sure. So when I do it in 2026, maybe I'll kind of revisit some of those things that I learned. I also grew some vegetables. I grew a little tomato bed. I had Roma tomatoes and this mystery orange cherry tomato that is like the sweetest thing I've ever tasted. Long story, I got some seeds from a coworker after she let me try them. Like, I took the tomato home, pulled out the seeds, germinated them, grew them, everything. And so in between my tomatoes, I wanted to grow some marigolds, and I was kind of tired of the regular orangey marigolds. And so I found these African marigold seeds, Moonlight. And they were just the cutest little thing. They were very short, but I wasn't expecting to use them as a cut flower. So I was okay just having them hang out in between the tomatoes, and they were so cute. And I love that they were yellow, a little bit different. And so I think I'll plant them again. I did get some more marigold seeds. They're supposed to be taller and bushier and maybe can actually be used as a cut flower. We'll see, but I will for sure keep these in rotation because they're just so cute. And they kept coming back, which was amazing. Next up, we have celosia seeds. I got the mixed pompous plume because, fun fact about me, I cannot stand the coxcomb variation, I think it's called. The texture just gives me, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I thought the plumes were gonna be the answer. And again, I don't know if they got enough light because I only really got pink and they only came out to be like this tall. So don't know what I was supposed to do with that. They were very hard to work into a bouquet when everything else was just like way longer and way more suited for a vase. So won't be growing those again. Maybe I'll try a different variety, but just not these. They just weren't it for me. So for other flowers, my husband and I put in a cattle panel archway, and I really wanted something to vine up it. And so one of my coworkers suggested that I do a hyacinth bean vine, and that was very intriguing to me. So I got some and I started them inside. Probably too early. They were monsters when they went out. And they did do a great job of going up the cattle panel, but they didn't leaf out very much at all. They were very leafless, and it was just this like sad little vine just trailing up. And then it got to the top and it would just shoot off these incredibly tall flower stalks. I don't even know what you're supposed to call them. Flowers? I don't know. And so I'd have to send my husband out there because he's way taller than me and like cut them off so I could, and they were fun to add to bouquets, don't get me wrong. I don't know. I was looking for something to fill in the cattle panel, and that just wasn't it. So maybe I would try it again. I think I kept a few seeds. So maybe I would put a few out, and maybe I needed to water them more because they did have a lot of sun. That one spot does have a lot of sun. And so maybe I would just need to water them more. That's something I could experiment with. Like I said, mildly successful. And to really get that cattle panel to kind of leaf in, I put out Jack Be Little pumpkins, which has always been something I love to grow because they're the adorable little pumpkins, and it's easy to give out around the September, October months, and they last forever as like a little decoration, either on a desk or, you know, with your other big gourds. And so I think I grew about three of those, and they did a much better job filling in, kind of creating that magical little entryway situation I was looking for. And let me tell you, I had the best time of my life coming home from work and going out there with my little butane torch and looking for the squash vine borer eggs on the flip side of the leaves, and I just toasted them, man. I just toasted them, and I think that helped keep the vines a lot healthier. I didn't get as many, maybe only 5 or 6 off of the vines, but I think it helped because there were a lot of eggs and there were a lot of bugs. So I think that's what helped me get the 6 that I got. And just kind of as like an honorable mention, because I did grow up with a dad who loved vegetables. I did grow, like I said, the tomatoes. I did carrots for the first time this year. That had always been kind of a mystery to me because I had seen my father struggle with growing them like on and off. Sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. And so on a lark, we got a pack from Lowe's again, and we just put in a couple rows and they grew. And I babied those things so much. And then it was just so amazing to pull them out at the end of the season and be like, I grew this. I couldn't see it grow, but I grew it. And then we just had so many carrots we didn't know what to do with. But I'm definitely gonna do those again. And I found out you can leave them in the ground until you're ready, and then you can pull them. So we'll take that approach, even though it's so addicting to pull out carrots. Don't know why, I just love it. I also grew edamame, which was so fun because my husband and I love to get it when we go to Japanese restaurants, and I grew a lot of it, but it did really well. It all came ripe at the same time, so that was a little crazy. I ended up freezing a lot of it, which reminds me I should get some of that out of the freezer. And so that was very fun and successful. That's all I really started from seed to grow in 2025. And it was such a fun learning experience. And I am so excited to start 2026, which reminds me, I have ordered my 2026 seeds and I'm so excited to talk about them because I've gotten new varieties of things that I loved, like Cosmos and zinnias, and I'm trying new things. And I'm so excited to see how it turns out, to start them and to hopefully see them germinate and then to put them out and see how they grow and what kind of fun bouquets I can put together in 2026 when that time comes around. So thanks for joining me, and be on the lookout for Seed Talk on 2026 seeds.